Hi everyone, good lovely afternoon. How are you guys doing? I hope you lovely folks are having a splendid day wherever you're at. So I'm on a road trip and I have about 4 hours to my destination. So I figured why not do a chit chat video, a long overdue chit chat video. I want to do more of these, but you guys know, especially those who followed me on my old channel, you guys know how it is. I don't have a lot. I do have a list in front of me, and some of this stuff, they're kind of old news, really old news now. So I don't think I'm gonna touch on them. But I do have some stuff on my on the list that I will talk about. But first things first, let's talk a little tech. So those of you who follow tech reviewers like Flossie Carter and MKBHD and The Verge and all that, I'm sure you guys saw the reviews of the new Motorola Razr Plus that's coming out this month. Well, it's already been. If you pre-ordered your device, it's on its way. It should be on its way as we speak. It probably, you probably got like a shipment notice, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago. Now, for me, I've never, so I love Samsung phones. I have a Samsung phone. I also have an Apple device. I'm not particular on. When it comes to the operating software, I do like both Android and iOS, operating softwares. But for me, at the end of the day, it's what works, what suits my needs. Doesn't matter, what brand and what OS. And for a good while, especially when it comes to vlogging, Samsung phones, especially the Galaxy phones, when it comes to vlogging, Samsung phones are like super vlogger friendly. Now, the iPhone does take really good photos and also good photos. I mean, listen, at this point, it's really splitting hairs. At this point, it's really just like silly to debate, which is better, because to the average consumer, both Galaxy and iPhones are, they take good photos. So the iPhone takes good photos and videos. But when it comes to vlogging, which is a completely different thing than just simply snapping a single photo. When it comes to vlogging, Samsung's stock camera is just much more vlogger friendly. I've said this before and it's worth repeating. When you're on an active recording, you can switch between the front and the back camera. Well, you cannot do that with the iPhone. You have to stop the recording, switch the camera, then start a new recording. And I just sometimes when I'm vlogging, I want to be able to just have as much of the experience in one clip. That way, when I load it to the app that I use to edit videos, it's very easy, very easy to edit. I don't have to chase after clips and look at clips. It's just, it's very. Samsung phones make it really easy to vlog with. Anyways, not to stretch that, but so I love Samsung phones. Now, Samsung has foldable phones. Samsung has the flip phone and also the fold. And I looked at those, but I was like, I don't see a use for a fold or a flip phone. The fold phone is when you close it, it's going to be the front screen is narrower than the Ultra device, and it's going to be obviously a little bit heavier, and that weight is going to register with me. It's eventually going to be an annoyance. As for the Fold, I mean, the only thing that's fancy about it is the folding mechanism, but other than that, it really serves no, no unique purpose. It is not, and I don't feel compelled. I don't see the justification, at least for me. So that's why I've never looked into Samsung's foldable phones and their flip phones. Now, the Motorola Razr Plus, on the other hand, that just came out. So I went ahead and pre-ordered that, and mine is just got shipped, and I should be getting it. If not this weekend, then the probably start of next week, and I'm excited for that. Not because it's a new phone. I have right now in my I don't know if I would call it travel kit. Right now I carry with me 4 phones, and I have reached a point where I have become so desensitized to just okay. So when smartphones were like they're just it was still like the new thing. The excitement was there. Everyone wanted to have the latest and greatest. I'm at that point where it's just like, whatever, it is what it is. I do not have to have the latest and greatest. But the reason why I am excited for the Motorola Razr is the front screen. And I'm excited for that because as a vlogger, and I know vloggers can relate to this. So when you're vlogging with your phone, not a DSLR or any of those Canon or Sony cameras. I'm talking about just a regular phone. You have the front-facing camera, and you also have the back, the rear cameras. And at some point in your vlogging experience, you get to see the difference between the quality, from the front-facing camera and the back and the rear cameras. And I believe I speak for a lot of vloggers when I say that it would be so nice if we could use the rear-facing cameras, which are, of course, of higher quality than the front-facing camera. It would be so nice if we could have a way, like a small screen that you could detach at the back that allows you to see yourself and use the rear camera. Now you may say, well, Jasmine, there is such a thing out there. Sony, the Sony phones, they have an accessory, a Sony accessory that allows you to plug in, to the phone and use, it's a small screen that allows you to use the rear camera and see yourself on that small screen. The thing with Sony phones is Sony makes great phones in my opinion, but a camera that is not vlogger friendly, 1, it's not consumer friendly, 2, and 3, in terms of image quality, Sony cameras, especially on their phones, they're the type that is meant for someone that plans to do, some post, shooting, editing. The Sony cameras are the type that you have to plug it into your computer, or rather, let me rephrase it. The Sony cameras are really meant for folks, or they're sort of, the way I see it is they're kind of marketed towards folks that typically plug in their phone, typically plug in their camera, their rig, their cameras, then move the photos, then sit in front of their computer and edit what they just transferred over. And for most consumers, you know, you want to shoot a photo and maybe just do a quick edit on your phone and then post it. And that's me. Like, listen, I'm a very busy person, and maybe at some point in the future I will seriously get into the whole, you know, editing and, you know, fancy graphics and really, really fancy backgrounds. Because, you know, listen, trust me, I've seen some vlog videos from other YouTubers that are just like, wow, I would so love to do that. But I just don't have the time. Like when I do a vlog video, after I do the vlog, I have two different types of apps: the Power Director or the Kind Master. And I use the Kind Master most of the time because there's a particular filter that I really, really like. And what I do is I just upload the clip or clips, and then I then upload a music layer for the background, you know, like an instrumental music. You guys always hear some kind of instrumental track in the background of my videos, and I'll make the necessary cuts, and then I'll export it. You know, it's pretty quick. So anyways, back to what I was saying. So vloggers that use their phone are, you know, at some point, if you're new to vlogging with your phone, at some point you will get to a point where you will start noticing and paying attention to, you know, the difference in quality between the front-facing camera and the back camera. You know, we know that the rear-facing cameras of smartphones are of higher quality than the front-facing camera. You know, it would be so nice if Samsung would put out an accessory that allows us to use the rear-facing camera. But as of now, I mean, unless if someone has a manufacturer has an accessory and I've yet to discover it, you know, I until I see that, you know, as far as I'm concerned, there's none out there except, again, for the Sony accessory, which you could only use with a Sony device, as far as I've read. Somebody correct me in the chat if things have changed. So the Motorola Razr Plus, in my opinion, especially the front screen, it allows you to use the rear cameras to do a vlog video. Yes, it allows you to use the rear cameras. And look at yourself on that big screen on the front part when you fold it close. And so that is what I am excited about. I'm not so much excited for the folding mechanism. I'm not so much excited for, you know, quote unquote a new phone. Listen, I'm all over that. I've been desensitized to that. To me, the excitement is in the possibilities. It's in the, you know, recording yourself, doing a vlog using the rear cameras instead of the front-facing cameras. Now, I am aware that the current foldable phones in the market. Listen, I get it due to space constraints and, you know, just the fact that, you know, the device being foldable means that the manufacturers have to, you know, they have to skip on some of the higher end specs. I get all of that. So the camera on the Razr, on the Motorola Razr Plus may not be of the same caliber as the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra or the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but, you know, I'm willing to wager that it is at least better than the front-facing cameras of of a lot of the current high-end device, I'm not interested in the front-facing camera of that Razr Plus phone. I'm interested in the rear-facing cameras, and since they're going to be of higher qualities than the front, it's listen. So I'm going to get my hands on that next week, and I'm going to do some vlogging videos with it. If it starts pulling it at my heartstrings, if I see that I'm liking the results, then I'm going to start using it. But if not, then it's probably just going to end up sitting on the shelf, or I'll just give it away or something. But right now, my main vlogging unit, my main vlogging device is the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. I like the way the photos and the videos come out, and I also like the fact that the camera is so vlogger friendly. Now the Razr Plus is not going to have the battery longevity as the Samsung phone that I have, and obviously it's not going to be it's not going to be a, in terms of spec for spec, it's no match for the Galaxy phone. But I'm willing to make some sacrifices. Again, once I get my hand on that phone, I'm definitely going to do some vlogs and see how the rear facing cameras. For me, that is what I find exciting about it. Now, I believe Samsung, the rumor is Samsung is coming out with, I believe, the Flip 5 in a few months, and it is rumored that the front screen is going to be big. It's going to be a big screen. And we'll see. But right now, I'm not. I could wait for that, but I've used Samsung phones for so long that I'm at a point where I'm curious about Motorola. Let me try Motorola. Let me try Motorola. At the end of the day, this is really just me excited about trying something new. I do not think that a Motorola flip phone or a Samsung flip phone, at least at this stage, will ever replace my main vlogging device, which is the S23 Ultra. I'm not ready to replace it just yet. So right now I'm just in the experiment. Let's try to see how this flip phone with a big screen at the front, how it turns out. And I'm also extra curious about the Motorola, how the advancements they've made, and how good their phones are, how good the camera is. And so it's a double curiosity if you want to look at it that way with the Motorola's, and also double excitement. So that's why I went ahead with Motorola and just made a purchase instead of just waiting for the Samsung. So that's my long commentary on that piece of technology. Now let me oh, wait a minute. Let me I just saw something on my list. This is kind of old news, but let me just touch on it. So speaking of phones, did you guys read that news? I know it's like old news now, but this official in India dropped his phone in a reservoir, and I guess from what I read, the phone held really, really sensitive documents. So they ended up draining the entire reservoir just to retrieve the phone. And by the time they got to it, the phone was pretty much, useless. It's was I believe phones, you can only keep it underwater for so long. Now, again, I'm at a point where I have become so desensitized to just desensitized to the excitement of a phone, unless if it's something that has like an exciting feature, again, like the Motorola Razr 4 or Razr Plus. I have become so desensitized that if I lose my phone, I do not see myself losing sleep over it. Now, if I lose one phone, I have 3 other phones. And also, every photo that I take, every video that I take. So I use Dropbox. I have been using Dropbox. I consider myself one of probably one of the first, I don't know, 10,000 folks that signed up to Dropbox. I have been using Dropbox for many years, and I cannot see myself moving away from it. Dropbox has done nothing but wonders for me. So I have Dropbox in all of my phones, and every time I take a photo and a video, when I connect to a Wi-Fi, every single video, every single photo that I took automatically gets uploaded to my Dropbox cloud account. Now, I could set it so all the photos and videos upload even when I'm not on Wi-Fi, but that's just, I don't want to, I don't see the urge or the need to consume all that data, to upload all of that stuff immediately. So I just set it so when I connect to Wi-Fi, that's when all the photos and videos upload. But other than the photos and the videos, I have nothing on my phone that would make me lose sleep. I mean, when it comes to smartphones, I'm very boring. I just, it's just YouTube. I do YouTube. I do Facebook. I use Chrome, Google Chrome. Go on Amazon and shop. I use Google Maps. For my music, I use Google Play Music. There's nothing that I store on my phone that would make me lose sleep if I lose my phone. Now, if I were an official of a government and and my phone had sensitive documents, one would think that that you would have like a mechanism in place, a backup plan, just to deal with scenarios like that. So something tells me that either that official was reckless, either that official and the branch of government that he worked in had poor security systems in place, or that government official was just telling a tall tale, and what they had on their phone were probably really, really personal stuff. Photos of sensitive, probably incriminating nature that they just did not want anyone getting their hands on. Seriously, if I were in San Francisco at the pier and my phone fell in the water, I'd be like, oh, bummer, I suppose. Let's go. Let's get one of the phones and fire up the camera and resume the vlog. Let's redo all of the stuff, all of the vlog clips that are now at the bottom of the ocean on that phone. I would not lose over sleep. Now, my Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. So when it came out, I ordered the one with the 1 terabyte because the carriers. So I have T-Mobile for my carrier. So So I have T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon with me. All the four phones that I have with me. Two are Verizon, one is AT&T, and one is T-Mobile. But T-Mobile is like my main account. And T-Mobile only carries the S23 that's up to like 512 gigabyte. But I want the one that's 1 terabyte. For me, in a perfect world, a smartphone would have up to 2 terabytes of memory. So obviously, if you get it from Samsung, you're gonna have to pay upfront for the whole, which I paid upfront. And I think after taxes or something, it came up to like close to $1,700, I believe. Which goes to show you that phones these days. Listen, I remember a time when phones were like $500. That was kind of like the I'm not gonna say the sweet spot, but that was like, that was like the level where, you could justify it. You say, okay, I do, I need a new phone, and that seems reasonable. But now the cost, the dollar amount that you have to fork out for phones, it is stratospheric. And especially if you buy directly from the manufacturers, listen, it's ridiculous. So my S23 Ultra, I paid upfront for it after taxes and everything. It was like, I think it was like in the neighborhood of like 1,700 or something, with the taxes and the shipping and all that. Anyways, and I'm saying all of that to say this: if my phone fell in the water at the pier in San Francisco, that's probably the only thing that will catch my attention. Will be, it will be probably what I paid for it. It'll be like, oh, there goes, $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, down to the bottom of the pier, bottom of the ocean. But in terms of the stuff that's on it, that's stored on it, I'm not gonna lose sleep. All my photos, it's not the end of the day. I can, whatever vlog videos that I did that day that were not uploaded to the cloud, I can redo all of that. And any photos from yesterday would have been already uploaded to the cloud. My emails, obviously, I can always just sign into my emails on another phone. So for that Indian official, for me, when I read that story, I was like, so you had to drain an entire reservoir just to retrieve your phone. Now, mind you, the decision to waste all of that water, goodness gracious. That official must have gone through. There had to be a chain of command. I bet multiple folks had to check off on that. Had to to give their approval on that. When I was reading that story, I was like, I wonder what kind of sensitive stuff he had on that phone. Now you've got to be really, really, really. You have to. I mean, it has to be a poor system in place, operating as poor security system in place for you to resort to that. Now somebody may say, well, Jasmine, somebody could still fork that out, and if they have the technical know-how, even if the phone is dead, they could revive that, and I don't buy any of that. because if it is a sensitive document, if it is a sensitive document or sensitive stuff, for starters, you have to have a lock screen on your phone. You do have to have a lock screen enabled on your phone, or a PIN or a password. So that's one. Two, if it's really, really sensitive stuff, you probably would be forbidden. Okay, so those of you with corporate devices, those of you with corporate phones, with any kind of company phones, you'll notice that when you sign into the phone, that when you sign into the phone with your company email and so forth, you'll notice that your company will place restrictions on that phone. For example, let me give you some real world example. You'll notice that when you have your work email open, the ability to copy and paste from an email to a Google Chrome is disabled. You'll notice that every such amount of days, you have to re-sign into your account. You'll notice that you cannot even change, like especially on an Android, you may not even be able to download any third-party stuff, like a third-party keyboard. Everything you use has to be stock. And you'll notice that or you also notice that you cannot download attachments into the internal storage of the phone. You can see stuff on your email as an attachment, but you cannot download it. You may even also notice that if you use like a Google Drive, like a shared document with other colleagues, whatever that file is, you cannot download it to the internal storage. So and this is just everyday corporation. So if we're talking government official, it's natural to assume that all of that security mechanism, all of those restrictions, those would be like kicked up a notch, because if you're dealing with sensitive documents. So even if somebody retrieves the phone, for starters, if they manage to get the thing on, and they revive it, they would have to go through whatever security system is like a wall, get through the security, and heck, encryption. You should have everything just encrypted all the time. So even if somebody got the phone and it's still working, let's say it's not somebody tech savvy, just a random person fishing at the reservoir, they managed to fish up the phone and it's still working. Now naturally there should be a screen lock on it, asking for a password or a PIN. And if they get that PIN wrong an X amount of time, the phone gets, factory reset. So for me, the way I see it is, the government official probably did not have a security lock on that. Well, for one, it probably was not a government phone. He probably used his position, abused his position, as is, and I don't mean to offend any of my subscribers from other parts of the world, as is rampant, as is typical of developing countries, even as large as certain countries with hundreds of millions and over 1 billion population. So that that official was probably abusing their position and wanted to retrieve his personal phone that he used half the time for business purposes, for government, for official purposes, but a personal phone nonetheless that did not have a strong security lock screen, maybe not even a lock screen at all, that had personal, very sensitive information, maybe photos, or maybe even personal information and photos that were damaging and incriminating. Forget embarrassing, I mean damaging, a career ending to him if some everyday folk managed to fish it out of the reservoir. So that's how I looked at it. Now maybe if there was a continuation of that story and you read up on it, leave a comment, because I did not follow up on that. But when I read the whole story, I was like, interesting. Because anyone that works in the corporate world with a corporate device, and I mean, listen, if you're working in government, it's natural to assume that you would have, especially if you're dealing with sensitive information and you use your phone to deal with those sensitive information, that, listen, the security in place for your phone it's a nuisance, and it's something you have to deal with. But anyone that's dealing with very basic entry-level security features placed on a phone assigned to you, that if your phone gets lost, it's not the end of the world. The company knows that they can just wipe that phone. They know that in order for you to even operate that phone, you would have had to, at very beginning, put a lock screen with a pin on it. It's required to even proceed to use the phone. You have to put a password on it, a strong password, a strong pin, whatever. And there would be, of course, restrictions on what you can download. You copy and paste and all of that. And there'll just be a lot of restrictions. So when I read that story, I was like, something looks fishy over here. Why don't you just admit that you don't want people finding out that you have photos of yourself in in an embarrassing positions. Anyways, let me move on, and I'm probably gonna wrap this up. I have some other topics here, but I'll talk about them later. I want to go get me coffee soon. So let me talk about the drama that I see in various YouTube communities. And that's the drama surrounding moderator sticks. Listen, those moderator sticks, I think some folks are really losing sleep. They're putting a lot of stock in those moderator sticks. They're making it seem like to be assigned a moderator stick, to have a moderator stick, is a sign of nobility. OMG. Listen, the fights, the quarrels, the tomfoolery that I have seen surrounding these moderator sticks, it has me cracking up. You have people losing friendship. You have people turning on one another, fighting with one another, threatening one another over moderator sticks. Listen, if I give you a moderator stick, now in one of my old channel where I did some live streams, I did have a few mods. I did have a few moderators. Now, does a moderator stick give you a certain air of invisibility? Yes. Does the moderator stick part a perception? Does a moderator stick tell the wider audience that you, the moderator stick holder, you know, have a closer alliance, a closer friendship to the host, to the content creator, than the non-mod stakeholders, than the general crowd? Yes. But other than that, you're no different than the next participant in the live stream, than the next person in the chat box. You have the power to block, to hide someone, delete a comment, block someone. And yes, if somebody gives you a mod stick, it's safe to say that, you know, the moderator, the host, the channel holder, they trust you a little bit. They trust you to a certain extent. You've been around for quite a while, that they've grown comfortable with you. The views you expressed in the chat, in past live streams, so far have aligned to a good degree with the host opinions and views. It's safe to say that you're probably, to a large extent, of one mind. You think alike, you politic alike, you have similar worldviews, and all of that, empowered, all of that, encouraged the host to give you the mod stick. You know, they feel comfortable with you managing the chat while they, you know, they take care of the commentary. So yes, I mean, to have a mod stick, you know, you are, you know, to a good degree safe, you know, because no one can block you. You are the one that does the blocking. But other than that, you know, it's listen, to be a moderator, it's like a job. I've seen some content creators harass their moderators. You know, they would start the live streams, and then they would be then, you know, if a moderator is not a frequent in the chat, you know, when they do pop up, they get scolded. You know, you would see a host say things like, why, you know, you're a moderator, you're supposed to show up, you're supposed to be here when I'm live. And I'm like, and I see that, I'm like, what the hell? You're bullying your moderators? Listen, a moderator, you know, me, I want to enjoy a live stream. You know, I don't want to feel like I have to work in a live stream. No, I want to be able to enjoy the live stream. And so for those that have a mod stick, listen, it's not, yeah, you may have an air of invisibility, you know, nobody's going to bother you. But listen, as a moderator, you got to work. And you have certain moderators that when their mod stick, when the moderators are removed, and I've seen it many times, you know, moderators, you know, they're cool for a season, and one thing happens, one thing leads to another, they get, you know, they have a differences of opinion with the host, and you know, next thing you know, their mod stick is taken back, and chaos ensues, and next thing they fall apart, they start beefing with one another. And the way I see it is, some moderators, they get offended. It's like an insult when your mod stick is taken away. Especially, I think moderators get insulted. It is a huge insult, the way I see it. Not for every moderators, not for all the moderators that I've seen, but I've seen it. You could just see it from the way they leave comments, even the commentary they've done on their own channel. Some moderators, when the host takes back their mod stick, even though they're still cool, that's like an, you can, listen, the discerning of the audience will read that energy. And you can see the change. You can see the shift. You can see, you can almost feel you can almost feel and hear the ripples in the fabric of space, the tearing of the fabric of space, the what do you call this, the ripples in the cosmos, the rapture of the space-time continuum. You could see it in how that former moderator starts moving. You detect a whiff, an air of bitterness, the tone and tenor, just the little things that they say, the frequency with which they come into the chat. It's less frequent. Just how they move, the things that they say in other content other people's chat. You could just see it. You know that they feel offended, and especially in certain YouTube communities where there's a lot of drama going on. Oh Lord, let me tell you, that's a drama, bro. That's a drama in the making. Because if you're a moderator and you have your mod stick taken, and you're still cool with that content creator, you know that the other chat members that are in the chat that are not moderators, that have never been moderators, they now see you as a failure, and you know that they see you as a failure. And you know that they know that you know that they see you as a failure. So, and especially in some of these channels that have, that have gone to a point of near cultish type of movement, type of groups. Oh, let me tell you, that is an insult that is an insult that will have some people losing sleep. You see YouTubers fighting over mod sticks. Some treat it like it's a class of nobility, of exclusivity. It's like a class of elites. Like if you have a moderator that you're somehow, a duke, a duchess, you're of the noble class. And I just find that so silly. Like, listen, to be a moderator, it's a job. You gotta sit there, you gotta look at the comments, look for that one person, that one troll that acts a fool. I mean, you literally have to look at the chat. Like, that's work. And for me, that's not how I want. For me, when I listen to a live stream, I want to be able to, surf the web, surf on Amazon, look for things to shop. Just relax while I'm listening to the live stream. Oh dear, let me go start wrapping this up. So folks, let me just say this with regards to the mod stick. Don't get carried away with that moderator stick. If somebody assigns you a moderator stick, you know, kudos. That means that they know you to a good extent. They've built, you know, a rapport with you. They feel, you know, somewhat a little bit closer to you. You've stuck around for a good while, and you know, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a, you know, it's good to be someone's moderator, because you know that let me touch on the positive side of it. The positive side of it is, you know, that goes to show that you've earned the channel holder's respect. And accept it as such. Don't get carried away with it. At the end of the day, you know, if you're not prepared to be a moderator, if you just don't want the hassle and the drama that comes with the mod stick, you know, you can politely decline. Like, listen, hey, I see you just modded me up. I appreciate the gesture, but you know, I want to be able to just support from the bleachers, so to speak, from the skybox. And you know, if you're open with the host will respect that. And if the host takes back the moderator stick, if the host gives you the mod stick and you're all giddy about it, and you know, you start doing backflips and you start parading it and announcing it to the world that you're a moderator. Listen, if one day the host that takes the mod stick back, just accept it and move on. It's not the end of the world. Don't be bitter about it. Because let me tell you, I've seen moderators wage like months-long battle on YouTube with the channel holder, simply because they had their mod stick taken away. It was almost like, you know, the channel holder yanked their, you know, their dignity, their humanity. You know, it's like, you know, goodness gracious, it's not that deep. So if somebody takes back your mod stick, and listen, you know, you may not like how it feels, especially if you're like in a tight-knit YouTube group. You know, the optics of that, the perception of that, you know, the social standing you occupied in that group. I get it. In all of that, you're gonna probably feel slight insulted, but you know, you just gotta keep it moving. You gotta keep it moving. All right, folks, so that's that for this commentary. Don't forget to hit that lovely like button. Even though for my videos you may not see the number of the likes, on the back end I do see it, and I appreciate it. I really do. So please hit that like button. And if you have not subscribed to my lovely small channel, I hope that, you know, you would do so and also hang around. And for those of you that are my day ones, those of you that have stuck around for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years, especially on my old channel, you're all in my heart. I greatly appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next upload. All right, take care. Bye-bye.